Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is July 26th. Looking at the overall economical calendar, you guys know what today is. Powell speaks today at 2 o'clock and 2:30. Make sure you guys are aware of this because anything he says can overall affect the market's direction. Make sure you guys check this out on Market Watch. He speaks at 2 o'clock and 2:30 Eastern. And then tomorrow we have durable goods. We have a whole bunch of other information, pending home sales, jobless claims. And then on Friday we have PCE and more information as well too. Make sure you guys check this out. Jumping over towards the charts, trying to keep the watch list a little bit short since most of you guys are going to be watching SPY and Tesla anyways. But I'm going to throw in not Nvidia, Meta in the mix. Meta has actually earnings today after hours, so want to watch to see how this performs. This is looking it was oversold. MACD crossed up. We start to basically hold above the trade line. Whenever we start to hold above this blue line over here, that is a sign of a trend change. Anything can happen after hours. Just want to make sure you guys are watching Meta. Meta has the opportunity to move the market, whether it beats or misses today. So make sure you guys keep Meta on watch, not for today, but for the next upcoming days, because Meta is going to move big after hours today. Next stock we're going to talk about is Nvidia. Nvidia, basically, you guys can see it was trading at 480, and we basically double top, right? We hit it once and we hit it a second time. We came down, and now it looks like it's trying to go back there. Let's see what happens. Nvidia has been going sideways. Whenever you guys see a stock go sideways, that is not a good chance of opportunity. But if it does start to break above 468, we could start possibly pushing up towards that 480 price point. And then to the downside, she is right on top of the 1 year trade line. That 1 year trade line can act as a major trend change for the overall stock. So if it does start to break that 1 year trade line to the downside around like 450, we could start going down towards 439. Make sure you guys set your alerts. The video has the opportunity to move big, especially when you see a stock go sideways for a long period of time. That's just indication that the stock has the opportunity to move big. Next one we're going to talk about is Microsoft. Microsoft actually had earnings yesterday. You guys can see it's down maybe over $12 this morning. Was trading at 354. Now it's trading at 330. So I want to see what happens. Is this downward trend going to overall continue? So if it does start to break of the trade line to the upside, 341, then we can start going back up towards 350. Our side's a little bit more on the oversold side. This is the 1 year trade line where it's sitting on top of. So this can basically act as some type of support. It acted as support in the past. If we do start to break 334 to the downside, we could start getting into this pocket, the 330 zone. So watch out for that. Make sure you guys set your alerts, especially since it just basically had a major pullback. But overall, the stock is more on the oversold side. So I'm leaning more towards a possible balance, but you never know. Make sure you guys set your alerts to both opportunities. Just because a stock is oversold doesn't mean it can't continue to sell off, right? You got to wait for the reversal. So let's see what happens. I'm going to set my alerts either or and see what happens with Microsoft. Next one we're going to talk about is Tesla. Tesla has basically been giving all the moves lately with the volatility. So definitely want to watch to see what's going to happen with Tesla. Let's drop down towards the 20-day. So this was my main plan yesterday. We spoke about Tesla, about the major reversal, right, in the watch list or the video yesterday, right? Meaning that Tesla was oversold. We had a day of basically going up because it was oversold, but in my opinion, I thought Tesla couldn't continue this uptrend just because the 1 year trade line was sitting at 273. Not only that, we had another major resistance, the 20-day SMA, which when the stock is below it, it can act as resistance. So that was the main premise for Tesla's possible pullback. And you guys see from my stories what happened. We caught Tesla yesterday to the downside. But overall, what can happen today, right? If we're looking at the 20-day, our side does have more room to the downside. MACD is still crossed down. We could possibly get Tesla again today from 263 down to 260, maybe even down towards these 250 levels. Got to see what happens, right? So it does look like it is holding below, right? It looks like it's making lower highs, meaning every time it pushes back up, it's lower than it previously was before, right? And you guys can see that it's holding below that 20-day trade line, which ultimately could possibly push this stock more to the downside. Let's see what happens. Overall, not going to trust this stock for a long position unless it starts to hold above the 180-day trade line, which is around like 267. Above 267, we could start pushing up towards 273. To the downside could get kind of risky just because the 263 and then 260 right there is the 180-day SMA. So that could act as a strong support level. So I'm just going to change the color of that line to like a lighter blue. This way I know, hey, if I'm shorting this thing and then this thing is starting to struggle around that 260, I know that if I'm on a small chart, I'm not going to see this long blue line, right? So if I'm on a smaller chart, now I know, hey, this 260 is a possible SMA for me. So want to see what happens. If we do break it, then I think we do retest this 255 level. So that's perfectly possible. Right now, the 180-day MACD has not crossed down yet. It is under divergence, which is like quote unquote the bearish part of the MACD. So let's see what happens. If this does cross down, I do think we could possibly retest that 254. If we jump over towards the 1 year, we jump over toward the 1 year. Tesla is crossed down on the bearish position on the MACD. On the 1 year, we are trading below that 1 year trade line. So overall, Tesla does have more room to drop on the 1 year, but we got to play day by day and see how this plays out. Overall, it does look like a possible pullback, but we have to see what happens at the bell. Next stock we're going to talk about is SPY, right? SPY has been killing it, right? I think I've seen 7 straight green day for the SPY or something like that. You guys could see SPY made a new high yesterday, or a new 180-day high of 456, right? 456 was a previous rejection zone before. So what do you guys think? Is this a double top? We're already starting to sell off. You guys can see that immediate next candle was red. Next candle was green. Next candle was red, red. So it looks like it's struggling to basically go back towards that previous level. So this looks like a double top. We could start to pull back. Maybe I'm just being a bear, but watch for the break of 454. Then we could start going down towards 452, maybe even down towards those 451 levels. Set your alerts on SPY. Jumping over towards the 20-day chart over here, you guys can see 20-day MACD is already crossed out. RSI has room to the downside. And what's that? We're already forming 3 candles below the 20-day trade line. That is a bearish sign, so let's see what happens, right? So make sure you guys set your alerts. If we do start to break down to the downside, we can continue to sell off, maybe even touch the 20-day trade line around like 453 over here. So I'm gonna change the color of that as well. So I know, hey, SMA is right here. So we could basically go from 454 down towards these 453 levels, which it could possibly bounce off of. Let's jump over towards the 1 year. 1 year on SPY is sitting around like 450. So want to keep that in mind. Overall, SPY is still bullish, even though we're seeing a possible pullback. SPY is bullish because it's still trading above that 100 on that 1 year trade line over here. As long as we're above it, overall main direction is bullish. Doesn't mean that we're not going to have any type of pullbacks or anything like we're seeing today, right? So let's see what happens. Anything can change at 2:30. Powell could say something positive for the overall market, and we end up flipping and making a new high. So understand that the main direction is bullish, short-term direction is showing bearish, but anything can change at 2:30. Make sure you guys are aware about that. Make sure you guys know that if you're in the trade, technicals may not matter. So that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys have a green trading day. Remember, practice patience, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Peace.